Fight Fans TV. Once again, my name is Jake, and we're talking about the Royal Rumble, which happens tonight. It is probably the biggest event of the year, especially for pro wrestling fans. Yes, there's WrestleMania. Yes, there's Wrestle Kingdom from New Japan. Yes, there's AEW in, out, shake it all. Anyway, so, not dissing AEW, don't get me stands. So, the Royal Rumble for me is probably the biggest and best event of the year because it's 30 men entering the ring and it's 30 women entering the ring. You don't know who's going to come in when, unless you watch WWE Backstage, in which case they ruin 1 and 2. But I'm not going to do that here because, you know, you can figure that out yourselves when you watch the event tonight. So, what I'm talking about here right now is we're going to talk about some shocks that may be appearing in the Royal Rumble tonight. So, I'm going to start with the men's match. Now, in the 30 men Rumble match, the 30-man Rumble match, you're likely to get some surprises. Now, they've mentioned quite a lot of superstars who are already going to be in this match. But for me, there's going to be at least 3 or 4 surprise entries. Now, the first of those, a little bit wishy-washy on. I think it might be Mighty Skull. Those who know, they know. So all you have to do is just go online, type in the phrase "speaking out" and then Mighty Skull. You can find out for yourselves. I don't need to lay it out here. I'm trying to remain positive. So, as I was saying, I think Mighty Skull's going to show up because he's not going to be in AEW anytime soon. As much as he's mates with one of them, he's mates with the Elite, he was in Bullet Club, I don't think he's going to AEW because Tony Khan doesn't need the bad press. And if there's a company that doesn't care about bad press, it's WWE. Because let's face it, they've got other people who got indicted as part of speaking out. They may rhyme with such things as fat, fiddle. Anyway, yes, so I think Mighty Skull's showing up tonight. I don't know when in the Rumble, but I don't also think that he's going to be a main roster star. I think he's likely going to be on NXT, but this is going to be a way to introduce him to the audience before moving him over to NXT. I don't think he's going to NXT UK. I really don't see that happening. Dependent on his visa situation, which I don't know, I'm assuming he'll be able to work for NXT over in the US. I mean, he was with Sinclair and Ring of Honor for long enough. I think that was a mutual part, and he didn't get sacked, he didn't get fired or anything like that, so I think the door's open for him to come to WWE, and I think he likely will. Second is slightly less troubling. Well, slightly. Not, yeah. Brock Lesnar. I think Brock Lesnar's showing up tonight. Why? Because he's a beast incarnate. He's been missing since WrestleMania last year, where he lost to Drew McIntyre in the main event. Sort of. I mean, it weren't a main event. If you're a proper hardcore fan, you know that the Big Show versus Drew McIntyre was the main event, which they showed on Raw. Yeah, so I think that Brock Lesnar is showing up tonight at the Royal Rumble. I don't think he's going to win it. I think he's likely going to be dumped out by someone like Goldberg. Or, alternatively, as kind of a throwback, back in the 2004 Royal Rumble, which WWE won't bring up for, again, another problematic reason, but during that match, Brock Lesnar entered the ring, hit an F5 on Goldberg before Goldberg then got dumped out of the ring unceremoniously. I think they might do kind of a switch, you know, kind of a nostalgic thing where during a match, Goldberg's going to come out, take out Brock after he loses to Drew McIntyre. So I don't think Goldberg's beating Drew McIntyre. I think he's showing up in a Rumble just to take out Brock Lesnar, and we're going to get the final Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar WrestleMania match. Now, I know people don't want to see it, but at the same time, do you want to see Goldberg squash another up-and-comer? No. Why would you want that? Because you don't want that. No one wants that. So, moving on from that, we move on to number 3, and it's probably the most likely candidate, is Seth Rollins. Now, he's coming back from paternity leave, probably not paid paternity leave, because obviously WWE superstars are independent contractors, which means they get no health benefits, they get no any benefits, and they get to basically not go anywhere else, because that's what an independent contractor means. I don't have a lawyer, but I'll be asking them shortly. So, Seth Rollins is showing up at number 3 of my picks. I don't think he's going to be coming back as a huge babyface. I think with no crowd, they can pipe in whatever they want. It's still hilarious to me that Roman Reigns gets booze piped in. It's just, a year ago, it just blows my mind that would even happen. So, Seth Rollins is going to be showing up tonight in the Royal Rumble, and I think he's be coming back as the Messiah. I think that Buddy Murphy, number 4, Buddy Murphy's also going to be coming back as kind of a surprise run-in to attack Seth Rollins, and they're going to try and reignite that feud. Because I think there's a decent little feud going, and I think they need to do something to kind of re-spark it and make it meaningful again. I think we're probably going to get the spot in a Rumble match where Seth Rollins gets on his knees and Sheamus goes to give him a bro kick, and then Rollins moves out of the way and then dumps him out of the ring, and then we never actually get any sort of, fulfillment to that story. It's just WWE. We don't need fulfillment. We just need what happens there. Here you go. That'll do. So, number 5, finally, who I think is going to arrive, Booker T. I mean, he's there anyway with Bad Bunny. I don't do modern music because I'm old. I'm an old man. It wrinkles. Yeah, wrinkles. Oh man, that's bad. That's some deep shit right there, isn't it? Deep things. Right, anyway, so as I was saying, I don't think that CM Punk is showing up in the match tonight. As much as people are getting all excited, I also don't think Jay White is showing up. I'd love if Jay White showed up, but he's not showing up. Let's face it, he's not showing up, is he? I'm really sorry, but Jay White is not showing up. So beyond that, we move on to the women's match. And in the women's match, I see first off, not Becky Lynch, but I can see her showing up. Now, I can't get pregnant. So, I don't know how a woman's body reacts to pregnancy. I don't know how long it's going to take her to have healed afterwards. She's clearly superhuman because we saw that picture of her recently holding her baby Rue, where she looks great. She looked ready to go, but just let her rest. Just let her rest. Doesn't need to come back. Becky Lynch does not need to be this Royal Rumble, but I would not be shocked if she is. So I'm kind of putting her as a half sort of person coming in. Number 2, I think Paige is coming back. Reason being, Edge came back last year. Obviously, doctors have told him, look, you know, your neck injury, it's got to a point where you can return. There's new medicine. There's new, probably not medicine, probably surgical procedures, but there's new ways that we can make sure you can return to action and not be so hurt that you can't walk again. Asterisk, hopefully. Please let this man live and walk and look after his kids. So aside from that, I think Paige is showing up tonight. Paige is going to show up. She's not going to win a Rumble. I think she's going to get a short little cameo, and that's going to be it for her. I think she wanted to be in that first Women's Royal Rumble match so badly because she was part of the Women's Evolution. She was kind of one of the first incumbents of it. It was her, Emma, Charlotte Flair, you know, the 4 Horsewomen, all that sort of group was sort of the first kind of bastion of the sort of first, in at least WWE terms anyway, in terms of Women's Evolution. I mean, to me, the Women's Evolution started in TNA with the Knockouts, but that's another argument for another time. So, beyond that, I think that we're looking, in terms of surprise appearances, I think Trish Stratus is definitely coming back because Natalya basically gave it away, didn't she? It's a little bit silly. On her Instagram story, she basically put a little photo and said, oh, look, it's Trish Stratus, can't wait for Sunday night. And then she deleted it. So, I don't know if that means Trish is definitely showing up, but I think she is. I don't think Lita's showing up. I don't think Molly Holly's showing up. But there is someone who I think who's a free agent out there. Again, problematic. Like the first bloke we talked about, Marty Skull. Problematic person showing up. Tessa Blanchard. Now, in ring, I'd put her in WWE every day of the week. She'd match up well with Charlotte Flair, Asuka, aforementioned Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks. There are so many dream matches there for Tessa Blanchard that I want to see. I want to see them. Please let me see them. The only issue is I don't know if I want to see her on my television screen because she's so problematic. But realistically though, to WWE, does it matter that much? Does it matter enough to that company to not allow Tessa Blanchard to join WWE? Does her past allegations and issues, and I say allegations, I mentioned that lawyer earlier, allegations against her where she made some pretty horrific comments to other talent in dressing rooms, you know, in terms of, I'm not going into it, but yeah, Tessa Blanchard, I don't know if she shows up. I'm very much half and half. I'd like to see her, but I don't want to see her, if that makes sense. Now, the final one, the final that I think will definitely show up. Now, we mentioned Becky Lynch earlier. Well, I mentioned Becky Lynch. You didn't mention Becky Lynch. I mentioned Becky Lynch earlier showing up. Now, obviously, she'd just given birth, but someone else that wanted to go and start a family was Ronda Rousey. Now, she's not been seen since the 2019 WrestleMania. That's nearly 2 years ago. 2 years ago. That's such a long time. That is such a long time. It's ridiculous. But, you know, it feels like the pandemic over 2020 lasted about 4 years. So, there you go. I see Ronda Rousey returning tonight, potentially winning the Royal Rumble and going on to face Sasha Banks at WrestleMania. Why? Why? Because they need something monumental for when they go to Peacock TV. Yes, Bianca Belair is a quality professional wrestler, is fantastically athletic. She has got all the skills to be the #1 star in that company. #1 star in that company. I have no doubt about it whatsoever. But she, in terms of main event box office attraction, Ronda Rousey, Brock Lesnar, The Rock, Conor McGregor, Vince McMahon, possibly CM Punk, They are the only names, maybe Goldberg, they are the only names who could go that will make a huge difference to casual viewers. You bring Ronda back, Ronda wins the Rumble, Ronda goes to WrestleMania to face Sasha Banks, you got the cousin of Snoop Dogg, WWE SmackDown Women's Champion in her own right, one of the 4 horsewomen because she's got the link to Becky Lynch, Ronda takes the belt at WrestleMania, then you wait to SummerSlam and you do Becky versus Ronda at SummerSlam. I see that happening. I see other people are going to be cross about Ronda coming back. She's Ronda Rousey. People don't seem to remember just how important she was to UFC. She was the draw in UFC for such a long time. It was her and McGregor. That was it. That was it. They kept that company going. After Lesnar was gone, so you had Lesnar gone and you had Randy Couture gone, there was no other massive names. Yeah, there were big stars who could beat the crap out of people, but realistically, Ronda Rousey made women's MMA in the United States. I will argue with this with anyone. She might not be the greatest fighter of all time, but she made mixed martial arts in the United States with the UFC. She catapulted it to heights that no one has ever seen. So that is my Rumble picks. Thank you very much for joining me. As I said, this is Fighter Fans TV. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you find us on Twitter. Just type in Fighter Fans on Twitter. Type in Fighter Fans on Facebook. You will find us. Thanks very much for joining me. Enjoy the Rumble.